So I wanted to do a quick little tutorial for you guys about brush opacity, brush flow, brush hardness and softness, and what those differences are. But the first thing I want to talk about is how to increase and decrease the size of your brush quickly. And you do that by clicking the brackets on your keyboard, and it will either make them larger or smaller, like so. And that's just a quick way you can adjust the size of your brush. So I'm going to go with that right there. So the first thing I want to show you guys is our feathering, or our hardness and softness feature that we have here. So obviously if I have my hardness set to 100% and I paint in a color here, you can see it's really hard. The edges are really sharp. And if I keep bringing that slider down, it's just going to begin to make the edges softer and softer until we get to our lowest point, and you'll see here how soft that gets. And you'll also notice that if you increase your brush size larger, it's going to make it really soft like that. So it's dependent on how large a brush you choose and the effect that you're going with. So then from there, I'm going to bring my brush size back down with my bracket keys. I'm going to show you guys about opacity, because a lot of people don't know the differences between these two, flow and opacity. So our opacity just gives us a general transparency that we want to make on that brush. So I'm going to take it down to, say, around 50%, and I want to paint that in, and I still have my soft brush settings. And you can see here when I do this, it starts overlapping, and you can see how it slowly brings that opacity back as you paint over it. So it's just basically taking down the general opacity of that brush. And I can show you guys this when I make a hard brush out of it, and it'll probably show a little bit better, but you can see here now the opacity that it's making as you paint. Well, the difference between this and flow, and I'm going to bring my opacity back up to 100%, and this flows at 100%. So now I want to get the same effect as just using a hard brush. 100% opacity, 100% flow. But if I begin to take this flow down, what it's doing is it's kind of giving me a little more control over the sensitivity. And I know that's kind of hard to see right now, but I'm going to keep going down. That was at 43%. I'm going to bring it down to 21, and you can barely start seeing some differences. And you really have to get kind of low if you really want control or sensitivity or the density of how much that brush is pushing out color. And I have to sometimes even go down to like 2% to get the effect that I want. And you can see here how it's not really opacity as much as it is just the density, and how you can use it more like if you were painting with paint. So I just wanted to show you guys the differences between those, and hopefully that helps in your future projects. All right, guys, that's it.